Chemistry, manufacturing, and controls, or CMC, is a critical part of the drug development process. We work as a team to produce chemical matter, or the active pharmaceutical ingredient, and transform it into drug product that can be safely administered to patients as a solution, a suspension, a tablet, or a capsule. Making drug product begins in the process chemistry group, where we manufacture API from starting materials through a series of chemical reactions or transformations, scaling up from grams to kilograms using reactors and filters to yield crude API. Crude API is finally converted to pure API through a process of crystallization, filtration, drying, and milling. Analytical Sciences is a part of the CMC team that is responsible for developing the methods to monitor the manufacturing process and test the API as well as the drug product against predetermined specifications. They also perform stability of API and drug product. Examples of the types of analytical testing we do include high-performance liquid chromatography and UV spectroscopy. We identify polymorphs by X-ray powder diffraction, moisture levels by Karl Fischer titration, trace solvents by gas chromatography, heavy metals by plasma spectroscopy, and particle size distribution by laser diffraction. Analytical Sciences also perform force degradation studies, where we intentionally stress and break down the API or drug product to identify potential degradants and impurities. When the API has met all the required specifications, it is handed off to the formulation group and the global supply chain team. The formulation group is responsible for formulating the drug product for preclinical and clinical studies and for commercial launch. The drug is formulated depending on how soluble the API is and the design of the clinical trial. A typical manufacturing process of tablets involve unit operations such as sieving, blending, granulation, compression, and coating to form medicines that can be ingested. Sometimes formulation can be especially challenging when the API is insoluble, but there are techniques that can be brought to bear, like converting crystalline API to nanoparticles or converting to amorphous form by spray drying in the presence of a polymer. Finished drug product is then packaged appropriately, labeled and distributed initially to clinical sites to enable studies and ultimately to patients. All of this work is enabled by contract manufacturing organizations, or CMOs, that are spread around the globe. For example, we will manufacture starting materials at CMOs in China, ship them to a CMO in the US to complete the manufacturing process. The API is then shipped to a drug product CMO in the US. The clinical drug product is packaged, labeled, and distributed using strategically selected depots to clinical sites all around the world for administering to patients. Throughout every step of the manufacturing process, the CMC team works closely with quality assurance and regulatory to make sure all processes are fully compliant with current good manufacturing practice, or CGMP, regulations, and that production and release of drug product optimally enables regulatory filing. CMC works across all functional groups, including discovery, DMPK, tox, ClinOps, project management, and QA, and at the end hand over all CMC information to regulatory for filing.